Okay, so now once again, see guys, uh, if it is going to be divided into two, okay, if one single cell divides into two, what is the process we call it? We call it as mitosis. And where do we generally see mitosis taking place, guys? Mitosis will occur in all your body cells. Like, we are talking about your skin cells, we are talking about your organs, we are talking about your tissues, all these places you are going to see mitosis. But then we also said that, we have one cell giving rise to four new cells. Now, what is that? That is nothing but meiosis. And where does meiosis occur? Meiosis occurs in only and only your reproductive cells. Like we are talking about the cells of the testes, we're talking about the cells of the ovaries. And what does it do? It is going to help in the production of gametes. That is the sperms, the ovary, the ovum. Okay, so it is going to help in doing that. Okay, but then we said the next important thing, what is generation time? Okay, so generation time, guys, what is that? So we said that, there is going to be some time which is going to be required to have two cell division, two consecutive cell divisions, or the time which is required to in between one cell and dividing into two cells or four cells. That time period which is required, that is called as your this thing, that is your generation time, or it is also known as your generation period. Now guys, always remember, this generation time or generation period, this is going to be different from for different cells. Okay, some cells like our skin cells, I told you, they are going to require 24 hours. But some cells, they are going to be like, the gut cells, they are going to require 5 days. Some cells, they are going to require maybe 2 or 3 days. Some cells, they will never even divide in their life. For example, we are talking about your the nerve cell or the neuron, they will not divide only at all. So that way. Okay, also, like if you're talking about a bacteria, for example, we are talking about e coli will take only 20 minutes for division. Okay, but if we are talking about your yeast, then it is going to take around 90 minutes. So remember, 20 minutes for E. coli and 90 minutes for your yeast. This is what is going to happen, guys. Okay, so always remember, generation time for different cells is going to be different. Okay, but now today, what do we have to talk about, guys? We have to talk about what exactly is cell cycle. Okay, so let's try to understand what is this cell cycle, how does it work, what really happens out over there. Okay, sure. Okay, so guys, when we talk about cell cycle, okay, understand. So whenever I talk about the term cycle, what does cycle mean? Cycle means something that is going to go round and round, meaning it is going to start and it is going to end at the same place. That is why we call it as cycle. Okay, just a second. There are some questions out over here. Okay. Sir, do you know which books we have to buy? Okay, so you have to first thing, like, the first important thing is you have to buy your HSC textbooks. Okay, so HSC 11th, HSC 12th, and second one is NCRT 11th and NCRT 12th. Those are the four books that you'll require. If you study from these four books, it is quite sufficient enough, like, to crack your NEET exams. Okay, and as we're going to move ahead, I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks also, so you don't have to worry about it. Four books, that should be good enough. So generation time is the time required for the cells to divide themselves. Yes, absolutely. It is the time required for successive divisions, meaning one cell to give rise to daughter cells. So you can also say that, it is a time required for a parent cell to give rise to daughter cells as well. So that is nothing but generation time. See, once again, see here, when one cell divides into two, this time period, whatever this time was, this is going to be your generation time. Okay, the time period required for one single cell division, you can also call it that way. Okay, but now guys, let's try to move ahead. Let's try to see what is this cell cycle. See, I told you what is a cycle, guys. A cycle means something that is going to go round and round, round and round, round and round, meaning the start and the end of it remains the same. That is why we call it as a cycle. Okay. Okay, so now guys, let's imagine. Okay, so let's imagine the cell is going to start its journey right from out over here. Let's imagine. So what will happen is this cell has to undergo various events. Okay, it is going to undergo various events, and then ultimately it is going to land up out over there itself. Okay, how does it happen? What happens out over here? Let's try to see. Okay, so basically it has to start from somewhere with its life, and ultimately it has to end at the same place. That is why we call it as a cycle. Okay, so now let's try to see what really happens. Okay, so let's imagine this is our entire cell cycle. Okay, now I'm just showing you once again, guys. Please understand. Okay, please pay attention out over here. So, guys, let's imagine this is the place from where the cell actually is starting its life. So, let me just draw one cell like this. Okay, now what happens is this cell, it is actually a huge cell. Throughout its entire life, what had happened was this was preparing itself for cell division. Okay, now what happens, this entire, see, whatever that is happening, this is the life of that dividing cell. Okay, this is the life of that dividing cell. Now what happens is when it is going to undergo that division process, guys, right onto this, the top portion of the cell cycle, guys, you are going to see this is called as the dividing phase. Now this can either be your mitosis,